Then you can see it in society.
Yes.
That the three poisons the Buddha talks of are ignorance, hatred and greed. You would be going straight for the enlightenment because you don't want to come back here.
Yes.
And I wasn't coming to any harm. I realised a lot of this is mind projection and fear. But over the last 3 years, it's become apparent that there's a big divide in people, isn't it? True enlightenment is blowing out away from conditionality. It's gone to the unconditioned.
Welcome everybody to the Drake Michigan podcast. I'm delighted today we've got the amazing Jonny standing with us. Now, Jonny's a new presenter on the Drake Michigan platform. He's working alongside Callie Spell on the Dark Matters series that we've just started producing. If you've not watched it yet, it's on the platform under Michigan Mouth playlist. You don't want to miss it. I was sat behind the camera and I was going to myself, whoa, the knowledge here is just something else, you know. I mean, we've already had Callie on the podcast. We already know Callie's got this amazing knowledge. But then when I was listening to Jonny as well, I'm thinking, we've got to speak to Jonny as well. And we've got to get to know who Jonny is. So Jonny's a former Buddhist and he's a truth teller. And he's digging deep into this reality. So I can't wait to talk to you about this, mate. And don't know where to start, but maybe you want to start, like, a lot of people come on and tell me about the sort of like childhoods and how they started to have some kind of awakenings to the way the world really is. So yeah, I'll let you tell me, Jonny, where should we go from?
Okay, I'll start at the some of the very earliest things that stick with me. Just like if you look at your past life, this one, I mean,
yeah,
as you look back on it, there are little signpost significant events at that age and this age, and it comes up to the here and now, so to speak, or the present.
Yeah.
So basically, one of the first things that happened to me, I was stood on a hill when I was about 7. 2 things happened to me actually when I was 7, and the first one was because I was always out in nature. I had a fantastic childhood. I was always out.
Yeah.
You know, the telly only had 2 flipping channels on it
yeah,
at the time,
yeah,
so you know what I mean.
Less distraction.
Yeah. But you know, you're just a child. You're enjoying your life. But then I stood on this hill. I was on my own. And I looked at it. It was like a 360-degree view. It was in a place called Marple Ridge.
Right.
And I looked at it and I thought, everything's mine, but nothing do I own.
Whoa. And you had that knowledge at 7?
I said that to myself at 7, yeah.
Wow.
And that was followed up just a few weeks later by, I was walking down an old cycling passage. And this, like a light bulb moment, some kind of like feeling and a light here above me on the right-hand side, but up there.
Yeah. And
that was, you're never going to die.
Wow.
You will never die. Well, of course, even as a little kid, you know, there was adverts on telly saying mind the road and all the rest of it. And I thought, people do die. But I never took it as that. It was something supernatural, really. It wasn't, I think it's talking about the real life.
Right.
You know, your spirit, your consciousness.
Yeah.
That's how I took it anyway.
Yeah.
And that's given me a thing where I don't have any fear of death.
No.
In fact, as I got older then, I started to look into death and think about it quite a lot. And then I tried to talk to people about it and I got, shut up, you're being morbid.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a subject.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I don't see why people can't talk about certain subjects, but you know, when you go into some, like especially death, they're not keen on talking about it. Anyway, there was those 2 things, and there's the little flag post there that early on, and then there's a few more, and these are the ones that I recall, and they all lead up to the same thing. This is why I got into mysticism early on. So by the time I was 15, I had my heart broken. I fell in love with a girl. It was childish, 15, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course,
kid,
but,
she dumped me and went off with another bloke.
Yeah.
And I cried my eyes out. And there's another thing but once I'd got over that, I started to realise that everything seemed to be, the most important thing to me seemed to be trying to understand what love is.
So you've been trying to consciously figure out
what that is from a very early age, yeah. So then, being a musician, because I've been in a lot of bands, that was in the 70s and 80s. Got signed twice, but never come to nothing.
Right.
It never did. that's another story anyway. But all the same, I took a lot of acid.
Yeah, I did that.
Like people do, things like that. But what happened to me was that opened my mind.
Yeah.
And out of the experiences that I had on LSD, and most of them were very mystical trips. There was always something like that going along in there. So basically, I decided to do the seeking thing. Mm-hmm. So I went around lots of different religious groups. Mm-hmm. I went and spoke to Hare Krishna people and what have you. I really like them.
Yeah.
I do. I just love them. I mean, all they've got to do is dance and sing and praise the Godhead. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And I just love them. They're great. Yeah. Great. And I love kirtan to this day, all the chants and the mantras they sing.
Fantastic.
I think it's beautiful. Yeah.
It's good vibration, though.
Oh, it is, definitely.
Yeah.
Anyway, where was I?
So LSD, because I must admit, so I think I was 16 or 17 and I had my first. So I was a little boy until that night. Right. I woke up the following day. Yeah. I knew I was different then.
Yeah, it changes you, doesn't it? Yeah, the perspectives change. Yes, you do. Yeah. That's what I think it helps you to do.
Yeah. But I grew up as well. Yeah. I was more wise. So it's like I don't know what happened. Yeah. But something did because I was different. There's no doubt about it, and I can still remember the change.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. I mean, we always have the distractors. We always do, don't we? You just took drugs.
Oh, yeah, of course. Of course.
It's not a dead-end drug.
No,
anyway,
not at all,
I haven't had that for years and years. What I will still do, but I do treat it sacredly, is I'll have plant medicine. Yeah, and obviously there's long gaps in between. You don't do this every week. It's not something you do.
You've got to have respect, haven't you?
I treat it sacredly. I make sure that I have an intention. Yeah, to try and discover something when I'm doing it, but usually it's what doesn't surprise me, but every time I do it, there's always an immense love, a really strong emotional feeling of it, but also an intellectual comprehension of what that is.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So I'll get into that in a
please,
bit more,
yeah. So when you were 15, so you had your heart broken.
Oh, yeah.
So was that a kind of... So you're trying to find an understanding consciously of what love is and why do I feel pain right now?
A lot of good stuff comes from suffering. You learn a lot from it.
Lessons.
I'm not saying it's nice, but all the same, yeah. Yeah. And a lot of people have had their hearts broken. If they use their... feelings in the right way, they will try and understand why they got themselves in that pickle, how that works, and what to do the next time. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, 100%. But it's all about trying. For me, love is about others. Yeah. Not just myself. Yeah. It's not just that being myself. I love myself. I mean, that's just what's that? That's the form of egotism. Then,
it is. But it's an interesting one though, Johnny. Is that I spent most of my life giving love to everyone else, but not doing it for myself. And when I went through my own period of self-healing last year, it was like self-love actually is very important. But without ego, it's not that ego. For me, it was more of, am I worth... Because I had a lot of lack of worth. Right. Yeah. Kind of thing. And I had to figure out why that was. Because I was giving to everyone. And almost not allowing... My ego was stopping that love coming back.
Yeah. I know people who have looked after, say, their husband or the father or the mother or something when they've been very ill. Yeah. I mean, me and my dear wife looked after my dad. He had dementia. It was one of the hardest things we ever did. It was 18 months long before we finally had to put him in a home. Yeah. But our health suffered.
Yeah.
Because it was so difficult. Yeah. It was very stressful. And I've seen people not take the time out to care for themselves while they're caring so much for someone else. You really have to balance it,
You do, and it's finding balance. When you're busy, it's difficult, isn't it? When priorities come in front of you, and then you do forget yourself. But it's... Because I've done the same thing in the respect that, my partner fell ill. We met sort of coming up to 10 years, and after 6 months of being together, she fell really poorly. She ended up in a wheelchair. So for 8 years, I was caring for her and our kids, and you do forget yourself.
Yeah.
So it is difficult, but it's a journey. Everyone's on their own different individual.
But
journeys.
you're doing a good thing. It's not like you're doing anything. But that's the strangeness of it, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
sorry, go on.
Sorry, I was going to say. So I'm just consciously aware of the fact that you've had this love, this kind of heartbreak. But where's it taken you from there, though? You know, when you're going right. Well, what is this love thing? Are you on a journey at that point, then, to find what that is?
I have to say this because it's tied in with it.
Yeah.
I was blessed enough to have an amazing mother.
Right.
She was just filled with love.
Yeah.
She was joyful all the time. She would sing. She wanted to laugh. She loved conversation. On the other hand, my dad was a bit like a stone. He didn't really have a sense of humour. He was been in the RAF and all this stuff.
Yin and yang, eh?
It was still like he was a Freemason.
Right.
But he knew nothing. He wasn't up there in it.
Yeah.
You know, and he
just playing a part.
Yeah, but that's what he was like, proper institutionalised type guy, you know.
Yeah.
But he didn't show a lot of emotion, he didn't show a lot of love, even though he provided and did all that stuff. There was a lot of arguing and he was extremely misogynistic. He had lots of racist views, you know, all the stuff that I don't.
Yeah.
You know, if you've got a beautiful mother there that's behaving so kindly all the time with a great sense of humour, and she's got to put with a guy that... Now, it sounds like I'm slagging my dad off, but I'm not. It was just traits in that personality. You know, that's him.
But you learn from
We have
the people.
two far extremes.
Yeah,
and again, my wife, she has strange things like that. Her parents are wonderful.
Right.
But her mum and dad are chalk and cheese in some respects, you know, and they both love her very much.
Yeah.
But, you know, her dad's like free and open and what have you, and her mum and her are always talking about... particularly what a mum needs and what Caroline needs. So they've got a good thing going there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something like that. But her dad was more free and open like my mum.
Yeah.
And that can irritate somebody who's not more sort of like closed in, do what society says and all the rest of it. It's not like anyone's a bad person. It's just this is what you're doing. No one can escape being skinned and bruised if you're born into this system. No. It's an impossibility. So basically, having my heart broke when I was 15, I'd already been brought up with a lot of love.
Yeah.
Because my mum was like that.
Yeah.
So I knew that anyway. That was there. It's inherent because I was brought up with it.
Yeah.
You know, but going on the journey through the heartbreak, I've had my heart broke a few times, you know, many times. I've probably broke somebody's heart. Probably have, yeah.
Yeah. Even without intention, it does happen.
The thing is, it's done in ignorance, isn't it?
It is. That is done in ignorance. Yeah. You know, a lot of people don't intend to harm another person, do they?
Yeah, but now I'm a very, very happily married man. You know, my wife's out of this world. You know.
Yeah.
We like that. Our outlook, our view on everything, the way we think,
it's good,
everything's like it's always the same. Yeah. It's just brilliant. You can't beat that level of compatibility.
Yeah.
So no, I'm blessed again because now my mum's died, my dad's died. I'm married to Caroline, deeply in love. So I've always had that. I've always had love in my life. There's been gaps, obviously, where it's not there, but the heartbreak is a teacher. It is a teacher. You don't want to suffer, so when you do suffer, it would be wiser of you to try and discover why. And so that's what I did. I went on this thing. So I went to the Hare Krishnas. I went to a place called Lifewave, Ishvari's Journey to Enlightenment,
right?
Where he charged £40 for the first mantra,
right?
£80 for the second,
right?
120 for the third. It goes all the way up to £2,000 by the time he finished. And when I said, "What happens when you get the last one?" He said, "Well, you're enlightened then." And I said, "Well, what are we paying for it for? Why can't you just lead us with your generosity and do that?" He said, "If you want clothes, you got to go Marks and Spencer's and buy them." What a terrible answer that was. I just didn't want to hear that. Because, the money's a dark thing in itself. The
can
way
be used in that way, can't it? Yeah. It's like the wolf of spirituality.
No, there's nothing wrong in having money in the sense that everybody's got to do it and earn a crust and what have you. But again, that's another flipping conversation.
It is,
It's a form of slavery. It's your time and energy. And it's never just for yourself. You've got to pay the tax, man. And put back into society. Put back into society. On my way here, I can't see how many potholes I went over. I mean,
Yeah, that's going back into
the whole
society.
thing is just corrupt, isn't it?
It is, 100% it is.
Yeah. So basically, there's a definite eye-opening moment where I'm meeting all these people who are looking and searching for something the same as I was, and I was about 22 at that time.
Yeah.
Of course, the musician friends and the people I was in bands with then, bar one or two, just took the piss.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, here he goes, he's off again, he's going there, he's getting his own religion and what have you. Actually, it was more of, I decided to give my heart to it as though it was the truth, but by experiencing it, I knew that I'd learn more by being with the people in those groups.
You're gaining wisdom, aren't you?
But obviously you do come across a few that it didn't take me long to figure out, no, I'm not doing that, this guy's just pulling a fast one.
Right.
You know, but eventually I found what at the time, I went in a lot of Christian groups as well, and I found that really harsh. The lack of freedom, the lack of policing each other, no swearing, no smoking, no drinking, no nothing like that.
Yeah, very strict.
Yeah, really highly sort of right-wing moralistic sort of stuff, but not for me. Not for me. Where's the unconditional love in that?
There isn't, is there?
There's loads of conditions everywhere. I think that's what comes out of that Bible. It does that to people.
I think so as well.
Yeah.
Well, it's Constantine, eh?
yeah. Anyway, well, when I went to the FWBO, it was called at the time, Friends of the Western Buddhist Order. They've changed the name now. They're called the Triratna Buddhist Group. So if you see the Buddhist Society anywhere, that's them.
Right.
Now, there's loads of different Buddhist groups, as you know. And if you do, I'd suggest anybody, there's a lot of really wonderful things to learn in that. And you don't feel repressed. And all the people are beautiful as well. I mean, they were lovely folks. But I left it because I was still journeying around and looking.
Right.
And then the second experience that I had, which is a flagship, I must have been about 26, the exact same thing that happened to me when I was 7 with this little light thing.
Right.
It happened again. As I'd decided that I wasn't going to go back to the FWBO at the time, this little light bulb turned up. Lasted about 20 seconds.
Yeah.
I went home and I wrote furiously for a week what that meant.
Wow.
Pages after pages, a 20-second experience.
Wow.
And basically, in a nutshell, it was at that time all about within, without. And I don't, on the podcast that I'm talking with Carly on, at the beginning, I describe it.
That's right.
So you'll have to watch that
to
know what I'm talking about. But I see those principles everywhere. For instance, there's only 2 places in all of your existence while you're here anyway, and that's what's within and what's without. You know, and you see it everywhere. You know, like you just take the journey of a sperm, for instance. It has enough information to know it's going on a journey.
Yeah.
There are lots of them. Some are going around in bloody circles, others in and then they reach the goal that they're going for, which is the egg, obviously. And that opens up, one goes in. There's a process of death of that sperm.
Yeah.
But it's not, is it?
No.
It actually impacts the egg with that DNA and that information. And it wins the whole of the universe it's been riddling around in and becomes all of the without. Me, you.
It's amazing.
So you win that. That principle's there.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So yes, but all that came from this 20-minute little thing.
Yeah.
You know, and plus lots of other stuff. So that was a lovely little epiphany that you just can't forget. You can't forget things like that.
No, you're not going to do.
But I'm going to admit now, I fell off the steed.
Right.
You know, I got, and again, it was another heartbreak thing. I mean, I've been married twice before. I'm just going to say they didn't work out.
Yeah.
There's no point in going into
No, there's not, no.
For whatever reason, whatever. But on the second one, I had a heartbreak there as well. And I got a lovely son and a daughter. But, just splitting up and not being able to see your kids all week and having to pick them up at the weekend was a really terrible time. And it impacted on my spiritual sojourns simply because of that. And then I decided, I didn't decide, I just fell back in with all the crowd that was with me, other musicians, whatever, and I started smoking weed again and drinking a little bit. I could never drink heavy. I've never been a big heavy drinker.
No.
You know, I used to go out with my mates when I was younger. I'd be tipping mine on the floor.
Yeah.
Without them knowing, because I couldn't keep up with them.
Yeah, I've done that myself.
Right. That's nice to know that. I want on my own then.
Yeah, I've done that myself. I could drink a bit sometimes, but I'm like 8 stone, 9 stone wet through.
That's it, 10 stone wet through, yeah. Yeah, but I just like get rid of it because I couldn't. It's the volume of it for one.
Well, the thing is, what you get in a group, like a bunch of lads, is like, hey, can't take his ale, and you're feeling all
that's
that.
Right,
then,
yeah. Oh, I know.
So, no, I understand. I understand.
Anyway, back to, I read then. I started reading a lot. But then I moved to Ireland in 96, and I moved over there with a woman that I knew intuitively while I was with her that I shouldn't have been with her. There was something not right, but I didn't. I kind of fell in love with her and I ignored that intuition. I should never have done
Denial.
Oh, it went right, yeah. Denied it. Yeah. I went right down the tubes there. I was in Ireland. I didn't know anybody. I ended up suicidal.
Right.
I never thought that happened to me. I don't suppose you would. Anyway, I did try to kill myself.
Right, okay.
So it's an heartbreak. It's a terrible state of mind. You're not in your right mind. It's a really bad, dark place to be. And again, I didn't deal with it properly. When I came out of it, I'd been in intensive care for a couple of days, completely out of it. My boss found me, actually saved my life. Really? Yeah. He's called Pat Higgins. Right. And he took the piss out of me. Did he? Oh, yeah. He'd come out of that, no sympathy off him. But he was a cracking bloke, really hard-working man. Yeah. Anyway, so my decision was, as bad as it was, so I have to tell the truth. Yeah. I decided to just have a nice time, have a good time, stuff it. I'm not bothered about anything. I tried to stop caring. Yeah. So I found a little house, put me and my daughter in it in Ireland, Skibbereen, and I worked hard and I drank a lot. And then I was going to raves at the weekend. By this time, I'm only in my late 30s. So that went on, carried on doing that. And then I left Ireland after 6-7 years, or whatever it was, and moved to Spain and started working in Gibraltar with a lad that I knew, a friend of mine, Andy. So I went to Spain, and Gibraltar was full of people running away from stuff. Lots of people talking like that, you know what I mean? Like, you're not a man, are you? You know, all that stuff, yeah, you get all that. But it was just crazy. And again, there was cocaine, there was pills, it was drinking. I couldn't escape. Yeah. Even when I wanted to go across the runway, getting back over the border, someone had nabbed you. You're not going home, you're coming with us. It was bizarre. Anyway, I came out of a nightclub one morning about 9 o'clock, bright blue, and I was chewing my face and drank too much. And this family came past me, little baby in a pram, little kid holding his mum's hand, the dad, and they sort of looked at me like that. And a big, huge wave of shame just came over me, and that was it. I said, that's it, I've had it. Done enough of that. Left. Went back, stayed at my mum and dad's for about 2 months till I found somewhere to live. And then I got back on the horse. Really, what happened was, it was a blessing. I went out with another girl, that didn't work out. And then I was on my own for a bit, and I had a dog. The dog was a lifesaver, actually. You would have that flipping love you could have for a dog. They're a gift. Oh, dogs are a gift. Right. She came right at the right time, and it got me out of the house. Because when you stop drinking and you've been doing it that heavy, you're still in a bad spot. There's a lot of work to do to get yourself back out of that. Yeah. So the dog helped, and I was on my own. I started enjoying my own company again. And then I started to delve into a lot of esoteric stuff. It just happened, including the UFO stuff. Right. And I foolishly mentioned that to some of the people that I knew. Then we're going, what's he up to? You know, all that, little green men, all that stuff. Jonny. You know what I mean? So, Jesus, you can't do anything, can you? Anyway. Don't do anything out of the norm, eh? No, but anyway, then I thought about all these loves and past lives and what have you, and the disasters that it is. And it looked like a disturbed water, really. It was just rough sea. And I'd started off doing the right thing by doing that seeking, and I had picked up a lot of good knowledge, but I let it all go, as I said, when the suicide was another pivotal moment. And once I'd stopped drinking, got that back, those little flags of memories that I was talking about from when I was 7, and the within without experience, which is the unconditioned, that started flooding back. I started getting myself back together, and then I was lying in bed and I thought, I'm not going looking for a woman, I'm not chasing it. I just sort of basically, Great Spirit, if there is anyone like that, they're going to come here, I'm not going looking.
Yeah.
About 2 weeks later, Caroline turned up.
It's mad, isn't it?
Started talking. It was in a pub, actually, but started talking in the bar, and all these things in common.
Because you let go, though, didn't
Wow,
you?
yeah, but I turned round to her, I went back at her, I looked at this is our first meeting, and I went, where have you been? You're late.
Brilliant.
Married now.
Brilliant.
Since we were together, I've told Caroline about my spiritual sojourn. She excited her.
Yeah.
She's always been into shamanism.
Right.
But we went to the Northern Quarter in Manchester. We used to go there a lot. And we just go around during the day. And we went in the Buddhist centre. And I picked up a book by Sangharakshita. I know that sounds terrible, but that's exactly, no, take the mick. He's an absolute genius, actually. Yeah. The books that chap's written are just far out, second to none. Yeah. The work that he's put in. He's the founder of what was the FWBO, but when we were in the Buddhist centre, and I didn't know this because there'd been a long gap since I was there last, and I picked the book up and I was telling Caroline, I said, we're going to buy this and read this. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, you're going to love it. Anyway, the girl behind the counter said, oh, that's our founder. And I said, I thought he's founder of the FWBO. She said, that's us. We changed the name to Sri Ratna Buddhist Order.
Right.
Well, me and Caroline started going.
Yeah.
Our lives picked up. It was just wonderful. It was all right there because now we're practicing medicine. We're not getting blasted out of our nuts. There's nothing like that. It's all gone. It was a back. Yeah. You know, I'm back on the steed.
Yeah. A bit more of a soul journey then. You're on that path then, aren't you?
Yeah.
Because life's full of these distractions, aren't there? Oh, in the Matrix.
So many of it, yeah. So it's just ridiculous how many there are, yeah. But I'm happy that I did it. And I loved all the people in there. The Sangha was wonderful. I mean, if it's not, I would suggest to anybody, if you're going to learn Buddhism, you go there. But if you don't like that, go to another Buddhist group because they do things differently. You know, it depends who you go to, but it's still Buddhism. And what's lovely about it is that there's nothing repressive in that. You don't have to have the language that you do say as if you're a Christian or anything else because they are all particular to themselves. Mm-hmm. The Dharma, which is the teachings of the Buddha, it was right up my street. It was all about loving kindness and compassion and wisdom and how to develop those qualities and how to, use mindfulness and get into different states of consciousness and awareness. And it was beautiful, and it is beautiful. And there's nothing in there at all, as far as I can see, that has anything that is unkind, nefarious, dark, all those of it. It's the complete opposite of all that. Yeah. Now I know what some people do. People will put anything down if they believe something else.
Yeah, of course.
Some people do demonize other things.
They don't want to move away from that programming though.
No, well that's it. But I mean, like I've noticed a lot of Christians know that'll be Satan. The Buddha's Satan.
Oh, right, okay.
Like, it's just ludicrous. Yeah. It is just ludicrous.
Well, you know what's love and what's not, don't you?
What you're learning about wisdom and compassion and love for, if that's opposed by something, you can see it in society.
Yes.
That the 3 poisons the Buddha talks of are ignorance, hatred, and greed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's rife.
Absolutely,
look at all the flipping racism and all the ridiculous things that are the cultures, and you can get it into even patriotism. Mm-hmm. It's a form of a strange little. It's another mental issue, because what you're actually saying is, I am English.
It's a label, isn't it?
We did this. There it is. There's an association now. We what? The British Empire. our government, us, England, the British, did what? Look at your history. Look at it. It's filled with nasty things. It's got all the way back.
It's gross.
It is gross. All they've done is stolen, robbed and murdered off people all over the flipping different continents and brought all the wealth back here and built an empire. Yeah. Now people who are patriotic say that's great. We wouldn't have today's society if we didn't do that.
Well, society isn't doing particularly well, is it?
Well, it's not, is it? Let's face it. No. There is no peace. There is no security.
No, and everyone's exhausted. Everyone's skint. It's broken. Society is completely broken. But that will come down to what you were saying. So greed. What's the other two?
Ignorance, hatred, and greed.
Yeah, and it is rife. That is society.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
It's right in front of our faces.
I mean, what is ignorance anyway? It's delusion.
Yeah.
So it's in what you call in Buddhism, maya. Illusion, delusion. It's not the seeing reality for what it really is.
My daughter's called Maya, by the way.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a lovely name, actually.
There's
loads of different Mayas. It's in Buddhism, it's a different...
But illusion, I said this to her, that, it is, you are the illusion.
Yeah. What did she say to that?
She's cool with it because she thinks it might be a good stage name after all. She don't like a name, but she calls herself May. Right. May is a great name.
I love Maya, that's lovely. Yeah.
Great name. Yeah. But... so there is these principles in Buddhism, though, isn't there, which any human being with any kind of love and compassion, that's what it's about, isn't it?
Well, it is for me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obvious that we are now, over the last 3 years, it should become obvious to anybody who's going through similar things or has been practicing something like that for a long time. I'd have thought, anyway, it isn't the case, but I would have thought that they would have seen that there's that shift, that change that's happened over the last 3 years. There's a shift in consciousness. People have.
Yeah.
There's been a parting of the ways amongst friends and people in families.
Without a doubt. And it's sad to see.
It is. It's been painful for a lot of us.
Very painful, yeah. But the lifting of the veil is part of that as well. And those that choose to see and don't. It's like you can't have a conversation with people like you could in the past.
No. Which is, I appreciate you inviting me on here.
No, mate.
I love you anyway already because you're just so lovely, great. You're a great bloke. Lovely. So's Kev.
Yeah. Oh, he
really
is.
Nice man.
Yeah. And we here, what we want to do is help people raise their consciousness. So having someone like yourself on is an absolute blessing with your knowledge and the wisdom that you bring to the table, because those teachings that your life progress, wisdom can't be bought.
No.
You can only experience
There's no wisdom without compassion.
No.
It needs to be, they're intrinsically linked.
100%.
You can't, how can you be wise without it?
You can't.
You can have a head full of knowledge. And what you're going to do without, if you haven't got wisdom there and you've got a lot of knowledge at your disposal, what are you going to do with it?
Well, I said this, but you can read as many textbooks as you want.
Yeah.
And you could have all that intelligence. But that's not exactly going to give you the life skills either. Yeah,
and I've heard it said, I've heard a guru say, what is love anyway? It's just an emotional. When you're feeling happy, you feel happy. That's an emotion. When you fall in love, that's an emotion. A guru said that. And I was listening to it and I thought, you sad sod.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a principle.
No.
Love is a principle.
It's an honour.
It's not just an emotion. Of course it is, but it's not just that. There are principles there.
Yeah.
All the things that come under it with all the different subheadings, like compassion, sympathy, empathy, generosity.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And the right energy to practice it. Do you know what I mean? It's that's what you should be doing. I believe that because we've all been brought up in the programmed, the schooling system's programming, isn't it?
Of course it is.
They all ring a bell and you
all line up.
It's like
wear the same uniform.
Do
as you're told. Put your hands up if you want to go for a piss.
Yeah, it's almost. I mean, my dad was like that. It's like I told you, and I've ignored it all my life.
Yeah.
And I took the piss out of him being a Mason. This is before I found out anything about Freemasons.
Yeah.
Because he was just. That's just the way he was. I'm not going to get into it too much, but that's the difference between someone like my dad, someone like my mum. And my mum didn't have knowledge of anything, but she would listen to anything.
Right.
And she'd have questions, but she'd always keep it cheerful.
So speaking about your relationships there, you knew you're different anyway, aren't you? So you know inside I'm different to me, because I know myself I'm different to my dad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I love him. I love him to bits, but
no, I wasn't close to
different.
him. I wasn't close growing up.
Yeah.
I avoided him. If I heard the car coming, I'd get out of the way.
Really? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But it is an interesting thing, because I think you do, as a youngster growing up, you do tend to realise yourself a bit. Yeah. I am different. I always knew I was different to the friends I kept. People would say it to me as well, you know.
Yeah. I do believe that's the truth, because I wouldn't have had all my friends calling me strange names like a conspiracy theorist when I was just saying, I never conspired against anybody. Why would I do that? No. I'm just telling you what I've just seen for myself or what I've read.
Yeah. And what's wrong with the conversation anyway?
Well, exactly. What are they frightened of? Why did they have to demonise something? You can't have a free and open conversation. Listen, a lot of views and a lot of opinions are erroneous if you're trying to get to reach enlightenment. The Buddha himself says that. But really, you're going to formulate some no matter what. Even if you're trying to reach enlightenment, you're forming a view whether you think so or not. You must be. Yeah. But you're keeping your eye on it. Yeah. Because you're looking at things ethically. Yeah, you're looking at things that benefit others as well as yourself. Yeah. And to me, that seems like a really intelligent, heartwarming thing to do. Right? Rather than consider yourself, I'm going to get a load of money, I'm going to be rich, and I'm going to... People stab themselves all over with lots of pains trying to become rich, chasing the money.
They do the walk all over you.
Yeah, that's the other thing. See, there you go. The ego comes into it. It's all about them. I'm not saying everyone who does that is. They're not. I do know a lovely couple, Sam and Greg, and they're lovely, and they're very, very spiritual. So they seem to be wealthy in heart and mind. So that's a good thing. Do you know what I mean? That's great. I mean, they seem to have some wealth. So great. Who am I to say whatever?
You can have that wealth and have that moral compass and that.
You can indeed.
And it's not, it's again, that's principle. The love that's involved in money. You could have a load of money. Yeah. I've never had a load of money, by the way, but you could have a load of money and use it for great things.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, but I don't have a love of money because I know what it's being used for.
There is an issue, and I've had this conversation many times. If I had a load of money, I would put it to some good use. Yeah, because I don't need it. I can. Don't get me wrong, I like nice things, but I'm not materialistic, so I'm not that bothered about it. Not anymore. But I will spend it on others. Kev's the same. Yeah. He's the same. It's like he knows that if he ends up with a shed load of money, he'll put it to some good use.
Look what you're doing here. This is fantastic. This is brilliant.
Yeah, it is brilliant. Yeah. And Kev has really gone to town on because he wants it right. Yeah. But he knows it's going to benefit so many others. Yeah, well, there
you go. He's a lovely bloke.
Exactly. Yeah. So money, it's like the thing, innit? It's like the knife, you can butter some bread, or you can stab someone with it. Yeah. With money, you can...
Yeah. You see, I'm a believer that language is difficult because you have to explain things. Yeah. And if you have... See, I'm one for... in mysticism, there's a lot that goes on there. So I've always been into mysticism. And that's there always because it's the great void, it's the emptiness, it's the unknown. Yeah. There's a saying that I really love, and it's in the Upanishads. Yeah. And I do believe, even if it sounds like a boast, that I have experienced it. It's those who comprehend it not, and those who understand it not. Yeah. Now that is an experience. Yeah, to know what that is saying, you have to experience it. Yeah. Because, well, it's not an explanation. You can't explain it. No. Once you experience something that's beyond the explanation, how are you going to relate it? And that's what I love about the Buddha. Mm-hmm. He is an enlightened being. Yeah. And I mean, part of the story of the Buddha was once he became enlightened, he realised that it was going to be really difficult to teach it. They're not going to grab it, all these people. Yeah. But I think it was the god Indra that turned up in the story, how to use it anyway, that convinced him to for those that will understand it, he should teach the Dharma. So he decided to.
Right, okay.
And then if you just look, it was like dropping a stone, the enlightenment of the Buddha, a stone in the ocean, ripples. It went right around the world.
Yeah.
I mean, if you at the time, it spread from where he was at the top of India, probably up near Nepal. It was all different then, wasn't it? But all that continent, all down that past Sri Lanka, all through the Middle East and the Far East, right down to, through China and Japan, Vietnam, all those places, and on the other side of it, it even moved into what is now present day Afghanistan.
Right.
That's how much it spread. That enlightenment. Look at that, how that seems to have worked. That appealed to people.
Yeah.
All that time ago. And this is what I don't. Now here's a thing. Here's a thing that I always look at. Tibet was high in the Himalayas. It's massive, Tibet. I think you can fit Britain in it quite a number of times.
Right.
But they've been doing nothing but Buddhist practice, keeping all their wisdom up there, all their sayings. They've kept them orally. They have them in manuscripts.
Yeah. And
they have some of the most extensive knowledge on the Buddha and other patriarchs like Padmasambhava and people like this. And they have 4 main schools. But there it was in this pristine place, and there's these lovely people practicing loving kindness and the path to enlightenment, understanding it. And many of them probably have reached it. I would say that. But and then along come China.
Right.
And murder all the monks.
Yeah. And
take the country off them. They didn't have really, and it was the only Buddhocracy, I think, on the planet. It was at the time anyway, and a government that was Buddhist.
Yeah.
And they just walked in and took everything, murdered it all, knocked down the temples, murdered all the people, brought in some Chinese, took all the businesses over. I mean, that's what empires have always done.
Yeah.
That's what the British Empire did that. The Roman Empire did that.
Yeah.
The Egyptian Empire,
just
the Babylonian, the Mesopotamian,
teachings and.
Yeah. Well, no. What they do. This is what the Catholics have done, and it's not the Catholics as I mean the people themselves. I mean papal decrees coming from the Pope, where the real dark things are working in the basement and all. In the behind the scenes where they get the wealthiest among them. Usually monarchs, to go and take over another person's country, another people's country, and they get over there, reduce them to second-class citizens or slaves, and destroy their culture and their belief system, and implant their own in it. And that's exactly what you'll find has happened all over the North Americas and the South Americas. What with the Portuguese and the Spanish, the British and the French.
Yeah.
And then down in South Africa, you got all that stuff going on with the Boer War, with the Dutch and the British. It's hard not to find the word British in it, wherever you look, But this is it. So China is communism, which was funded originally. Mao was funded by Western rich folks.
I didn't know that, actually. Okay.
You'll find them families behind it, be Rothschilds and people like that.
Surprise.
Yeah. Well...
And then we've got the big society with Soros, and it's all the same shit.
But if you were just stood as a witness and you could speed time up, or you could see it, or you lived long enough to see what was happening, and you have a sense of love in your heart at all, what would you say about that? You can see that all that violence, all that bloodshed, all that thievery is, should we call it evil? I'd call it evil.
Yeah,
Could you call that nasty, bad, whatever you want? It's all in the negative.
Yeah.
It's all based on stealing and gaining wealth and power and control for yourself.
But it's again,
or for an ism, or for something.
So again, you're looking at hatred, greed.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But even the Buddha said the Dharma will disappear.
Right.
But what I love about the only good thing to come out of that, what's happened to Tibet, is it spread Tibetan Buddhism all over the planet because they all just migrated out,
right?
Because they were being taken over, and now you've got the Manjushri Centre up near where's that one? Ulverston.
Oh yeah, yeah, there is.
Beautiful
Yeah.
temple. That we've been in there. I've been and meditated in there.
Yeah.
They're lovely. That's the Kadampa Buddhist movement. You've got all these different Tibetan groups everywhere. I mean, the Dalai Lama is wandering around doing his thing. I'm not particularly at ease with the Dalai Lama.
I think he's a wrong one.
Well, first of all and foremostly, like, there's nothing wrong with people eating meat if that's what you're going to do. I'm a vegan particularly.
Yeah.
Simply because, and I didn't do it for my health, I just did it because I just don't want to hurt or eat or be involved
I get that, yeah.
In that sort of thing, which is just monetising something. It's food or a coat when it's not, it's a sentient being. That's how I looked at it.
I get
anyway,
that,
and I love them anyway, so there you go.
Yeah.
So where was I? What was I saying?
So the Dalai Lama.
Yeah. He eats meat.
Yeah.
He's not supposed to, but he does, and he claims that his doctor's telling him he needs it.
He had the as well. And
well, this is like fucking rolled his goddamn sleeve up and put a bloody mask on. Do you know, my head's in my hands.
Mm-hmm.
My head's in my hands. I don't want to see somebody of that calibre doing that. And then, so that's it. It's very, very disappointing.
But there was
his choice.
There was an interesting thing recently, wasn't there, where he was... I mean, it just seems so obviously wrong to me, and maybe there was camera trickery and editing involved to make you feel that, but where he's asking a young boy to suck his tongue.
I saw it, and
I'm like, what the hell is that all about?
No, I think he might have been having a bit of fun, but it's inappropriate.
It's
a kid, a little child.
Exactly.
Stop it.
It's wrong.
Well, there's another thing. Does that look like enlightenment to you?
No,
it doesn't
all.
me either.
It's sickening, really. But so I mean, throughout, I think the interesting thing and a great thing over the past few years has been this lifting of the veil, though.
Yeah.
Because we are seeing individuals that were looked upon as potential enlightening beings, as the road to enlightenment.
Yeah.
And the wrong ones.
Yeah.
People like, is it Sadhguru?
Yeah.
So
he's the guru I was on about before when he was saying love's just an emotion.
Yeah, so this is a guy that's in the WEF.
Yeah. And, well, he goes there and gives talks to them and advice and all the rest of it.
Yeah, and he's talking about the fact that we're overpopulated.
And I have no doubt at all that if you asked him why he did that, he'd have some really smart, clever answer for you.
I'm sure he's very intelligent.
He is very intelligent.
There's no doubt.
Two ways about that. But it's not for me.
No.
Because I would not entertain anything to do with those authorities.
No, me neither.
Corporations, governments, military, any of those things, banking systems, any of it.
But none of that comes from heart, does it?
No, it's all about when you talk to people who are studying the law now, it becomes apparent, when they're describing how that legalese language has come up, it's deliberately for those who are using it against you to make money in courts.
Yeah,
because that is a money spinner.
So many trickery going on.
But you're not educated in that.
No.
So now that people start to educate themselves in it and bringing it to the rest of us, it's like, here it is again, more light being thrown on something. You're not stumbling around anymore if you're paying attention.
No.
You know what I mean? I won't fall off my steed again, hopefully. I don't believe that. Not as long as I'm married to Caroline and I meet good people like you. The company that I keep really matters to me.
Oh, I think that's so important.
Yeah.
I think that's so important right now.
Yeah.
And I'm a great believer in these past few years was that division that's happened needed to happen.
Yeah.
I think everything's divine. That's the way I feel. So things happen for reasons. Now, we're on our paths and journeys, but people are coming together. And I believe we came together for reasons, but I think the division in those fractions are happening again for a reason.
Yeah.
We're falling out with each other, but that's because for whatever that reason will come to us at some point. But we are, everything's divine.
It says, well, I look at everything in nature as sacred.
Yes.
Just like the North American Indians did. Who I have a great deep respect for.
It's the way we should be living.
I love them. I mean, no one's saying they're perfect. It's nothing like us doing it.
Not.
But you don't hear them marauding all over the flipping place, do you? What I loved about them, I've probably said it before. I don't know if I told you this before when we had a quick chat earlier, but 10,000 languages in North America alone. So that's 10,000 different tribes before they annihilated most of them. Did not have a word for ownership or prison or police or hospital. There's no drugs and pharmaceutical. They had medicine, sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just love that.
I love it as well because it brings freedom.
Yeah. Well,
you know, you're looking after each other, aren't you? It's a tribe, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And freedom's another word. You are freed up immensely from a lot of unsatisfactory feelings and ideas once you pursue with experience unconditional love for what that is, and try to follow those principles as best as you possibly can.
And I think for human beings, it's a real challenge. Unconditional love is very difficult. Whereas a dog, another sense, there is an unconditional love there straight away, and that dog will always love you.
Yeah,
you could be an absolute twat,
but
that dog will always love you. But a human being we can decide, can't we? No, I'm not loving you anymore.
Yeah. Do you know what? As you know, someone once said to me once, this was another one of these Christian types. I know it sounds like I'm slagging Christianity off. I am not. That Christianity may be, but not some Christians are lovely. And I've got good friends who are Christians, but they're Christ people. They're not going to institutionalized places where they're just under some yoke that is restricting their thoughts and their, critical thinking. You're not allowed to think for yourself, and that's not good.
That's conditioning.
It is conditioning. It's not unconditional love. Yeah, but I looked at my guitar. I had a guitar, and he'd come in my house and said, "Oh, that's evil, you know that." And I said, "That's a guitar. It's impossible for it to be evil. I'm sorry. Evil. Why is it evil? Because people play nasty tunes on it." And I said, just a minute. Let me just explain something to you. If I played something profoundly beautiful on that and you enjoyed it, would that make the guitar evil? I said, and even if I played it, it wouldn't make me evil. It'd make me, look, I just played something nice. An instrument, whoever's playing it, if someone wants to play thrash metal, great. If someone wants to play something like really sweet and lovely, that's great. It's a versatile instrument. That's what it is.
The most versatile.
Yeah, but this is what you are as well, in a way.
Yes.
I've become an instrument in my mind of trying to comprehend and live my life in that way with unconditional love. And that is the tune I'm playing.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I'm doing. That's my frequency now. That's my vibration.
Yeah.
That's what I want. I'm not interested in the other stuff, even though it's in my face everywhere. Because it is. Did
you start playing guitar at an early age then?
No, I was a drummer first.
Oh,
I started playing the drums when I was 15.
Right.
It was just mental, really. I never wanted to be a frontman. I just wanted to play the drums.
Right.
So I did, yeah. Got in a lot of bands and that was mad, hedonistic, like it was. But it was back in the day, you know what I mean? I started at 15 and I finished when I gave it up drumming in bands, trying to get somewhere with it when I was 26.
Okay.
By that time. But I wished I hadn't actually, just because I'd like to have carried on playing the drums for joy. But I do play a lot of percussion instruments now, I'm all right with them.
Yeah.
No, but when I packed it in, I thought, I'll just get a guitar and learn that. I'd already picked guitars up, so I knew a few chords, because you're not going to not do being in a band, are you? And I just improved on that, and then I started to write songs.
Right.
And I got a little 4-track reel-to-reel thing.
Yeah.
I loved the tape. I loved working with it. It was great. It was really good fun. Yeah, and I collaborated with people and recorded stuff. None of it was brilliant. But it was great. It was enjoyable.
Yeah.
And then I still write songs to this day, and I still play the guitar all the time. I still bang my djembe, you know. there's a friend of mine who was not the last band I was in, the second to the last band I was in. They were called Toy Guns. We were all close knit. I loved them. They were like brothers.
Yeah.
But John, the vocalist, he moved to Ireland way before me, and he moved up into County Clare, and he teaches tribal spirit drumming.
Wow.
Right, and he has loads of people.
Was it?
You know, like about 120 people all banging djembes.
Nice.
I'm dead pleased for him, and
Nice.
I think that's lovely work.
It is.
I think them are great works to
Brings
do.
people together.
Yeah, but there's no drugs involved or any of that. It's all joy.
Yeah.
He's a beautiful man, and he does beautiful
That's
things.
love.
Yeah. Oh God, he's a great bloke. Yeah. I'd love to see him again. I haven't seen him for years.
Your sort of musicianship though took you on some other journeys, wasn't it? Because we were talking the other day, and you were saying that you roaded for.
Oh yeah, I did a bit of roading. Yeah.
Yeah. So come on, let's have some names. Then,
Oh God, here we go. Right. They won't remember me. This is because they won't. Because I'm not one of these guys when I'm around a celebrity going like, I don't do that. I just can't do it. No. First people, who was that? Well, first of all, I started a little band up playing guitar when I was in Skibbereen. I only did a couple of gigs, but the drummer Les drummed for Noel Redding, Jimi Hendrix Experience.
Oh right.
So he introduced me to Noel, went up to his house, jammed around with his band and all the rest of it, stayed back, chatted to him, hung around with him. Brilliant. That was great.
Yeah.
The room, the legacy in the room, it's just amazing. It's just a photograph, you name it, there's everybody on there.
Brilliant.
You know. But that was great. But then I was fortunate enough, I was landscaping, and they put on, there's this place called Lissard Foundation, and they put on some live acts. Like the first one was Patti Smith,
Nice.
Nick Cave,
Right.
Cave of the Bad Seeds, I think it was Ron Sexsmith, David Gray, a couple of others, but some of their friends came with them, you know, Michael Stipe, one of these supermodels as well, forgetting her name, Helen something. Anyway, she was in the Wicked Games video.
Oh yeah.
You know that.
Yeah,
she
I
was
remember
there.
the video. Yeah.
Didn't speak to any of them. Let on to them because I'm mooching it. So I was drawn in to help set up little stages around the place and seating areas.
Okay.
So that's how that happened, and started to do that.
Right. Okay.
And then I do a little bit of work with the stage as well. So it was for Nick Cave, David Gray, and all that. And that was like 4 years on the run. So 4 times for David Gray, Patti Smith twice, I think.
Yeah.
But Afro Celt Sound System, Pulp, had a nice little chat with them on the top of one of the little hills out there, Bernard Butler, plenty of other people.
Yeah.
But off of the back of that, there was a guy who'd noticed how I was working, who lived up in, it was up near Dublin somewhere, not quite up that far. Anyway, Connor, he was called, Connor Power. He got us onto the home crew, doing home crew work.
Oh, right.
So we started doing home crew stuff. So it's like subcontracted then to Mean Fiddler.
Right.
At
Okay.
the time. So like when the Homelands came up and it went to Drogheda, for instance, up there. So I managed to like the first day you do something like 8-9 hours heavy lifting. Next day more and more of it. It's all the setting up. It's a good 14 hours I put in. And then the third day, I got asked to be stage technician on the stage, jumped at the chance. So I was part of a team. 2 of the other lads that I was with sort of ducked out after the first 2 days. So I was on the stage. There was 2 of us, 3 of us on the left-hand side, sorry.
Yeah.
On the left-hand side. And some lads from Belfast on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
So what happens is we set this stuff up on the back. People come up on the front. When that band's finished, I've already got their stuff set on. I bring it on, set it all up, put it around the front. And the other lads are taking it off and putting it back in the flight cases. So that's basically what you're doing. But that was for Ian Brown, who I really love and admire. He doesn't know that. Stood next to him a few times. He wouldn't know who the hell I was. But I was right next to the guy.
He's the man for me. We're talking again the past 3 years. We were saying about people enlighten people that have let us down all the way through. Most musicians have let us down. He's the only one who stayed strong for me.
Been heartbreaking for me. I used to think that most of us who were musicians were clued up.
Well, they're supposed to be rebels, aren't we?
Yes, exactly. But I mean, what? Jab the World concert, some of my favourite bands on it, and now it was just that was a bit of a what an eye opener.
Yeah,
that just shows you've done it.
Oh yeah.
So is Ian Brown, Left Field, Primal Scream.
Mm-hmm.
So
good bands.
Yeah, lots of DJs as well. But Left Field, I know on it. Their sound was amazing.
Yeah,
So I don't remember that. It was fantastic. But that was 24 hours, 8 in the morning till 8 in the morning. That's what you basically have to do.
There's a lot of work there. I mean, were you, because you were on a bit of a spiritual and you're into mysticism and all that kind of stuff, was there any conversations at that time with anybody that you were working with?
The only person that I had a conversation with was, this is when I was in Ireland as well, remember, and I told you what I was like over there. It's gone past the suicide and I was drinking.
Yeah.
I drowned all that sorrow.
Yeah.
In that. Wrong thing to do, definitely, but that's what I'd done. But I was cheerful enough. Anyway, we were in the large house afterwards and I stood talking to Nick Cave. And he wanted to talk about the Bible of all things. It was like it's been an influence on him without any doubt.
Interesting.
I mean, it's like he's got a very dark side to his music in a lot of ways, but I still like him. I like
he's
Cave.
Interesting.
Yeah. Some of it's a bit here and there, but that's him, isn't it? That's Nick Cave, and he's art.
It's art.
There, he should be there, yeah. Anyway, so I had a lovely chat with him. Unfortunately, as we were chin wagging away, I was knocking him back.
Oh, were you?
Before I knew it, I was going, hey, getting loud and leery and all the rest of it, and then that was the end of that one. But yeah. But the best one was being a nice friend and meeting with Noel Redding.
Right.
I really liked that.
Yeah.
He was
that was
a
an
lovely
impression
man.
to you then.
No, he was a lovely bloke.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. Anyway, I had a chat with Nick Cave. Just a bit of a letting on to the others, really, nothing more than that. But I've seen things, when you stay quiet and not get involved, you see stuff.
Yeah.
And you see things in them that you might not think. But this is a funny thing, celebrity, isn't it?
It's a very funny thing. Yeah.
I mean, I don't like the idea of fame, to be honest. I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it if that's what you're doing, but again, that's a path that I just wouldn't want to be on.
I wouldn't want to be on it, personally.
No. I don't mind if I can, time to time, someone goes, get your guitar out and entertaining my friends and that, and I'd do a gig at a festival or a concert, do that. But I prefer being in a band rather than being up there on your own. It's a bit naked, you know what I mean? It's just you and an acoustic. You know what I mean?
It takes guts, doesn't it?
Yeah. I used to get nervy, and you make mistakes when you're nervy. But if you get out your own way, you're usually all right. And there's some lovely people that I've met. I've learnt from just their advice who do kirtan.
Oh, right.
And they tell you, get out of your way, let it out, get the joy out. And once you do that, you can sing. Anybody can.
It comes in and seems to be in most principles of life, I think. Getting out your own way.
Yeah.
And letting it, just let it go. Me and Kev keep saying it, let it go. And then things will. It's almost then it allows that flow. Whereas we're our worst enemies, aren't we?
Yeah, you are. This is what the ego's all about. It will deny you access to the joy of doing music if you start getting nervous.
Yeah.
Because your ego's going, oh, I'm not confident enough. What if I make a mistake? Well, it's nonsense, really. You're just doing it to yourself. Now that's what happens, isn't it? And then on the other hand, there are those who are going, oh, can fly this. The ego's big enough to push it forward.
Yeah, sure.
But it's all like a similar thing. That's why I'm saying I don't relate to fame as I do unconditional love. It's just not the same path.
It's not even the same. It's not in the same league for me. That let's be like, again, I'm touching on the past few years, but people that you put on pedestals, they're just people, aren't they? But they let you down.
Well, this is why I don't like looking at people in courts with the Saturnian robes and the wigs and monarchies with the crown and all the regalia and the gold carriage and all the rest of it. Mate, you take a shit, you piss, you're filled with pus, bile, sinew, bone, blood, the same as everybody else. It's just a nonsense. But people feed it.
They do.
My subjects in my realm. You know,
It's just a joke, isn't it?
You know, what I really want to say is, oh, fuck off.
Yeah, exactly.
Stop it. Stop it.
Yeah.
But no, there it is, and the people feed it. People do, because there's it is again, patriotism. And whenever you access what you're actually being patriotic for, and then there's other people who label things, label themselves. You know, I am this, I am that. You know, when you do that, well, you're restricting yourself. Why would you say I am this particularly? It's like me now. If I say I'm a Buddhist, I'm not. Am I now? I don't go to a sangha, but I love the teachings of the Dharma.
Yeah.
And so I still have an affinity with it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'll still read, and I'll still follow it, and I'll still meditate.
Yeah.
You know, why not? I get it's beneficial.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You know, not only that, because I've always been a guy that's been quite intense when I've explained things to people. Usually, I seem to have gotten it sorted now. But I'd be, getting agitated or something. It looked like that to other people, or getting very, very intense. And I've been like that for donkey's years. I know where that came from.
Right.
The fact that no one had ever fucking listened to you.
And you're trying to get your point across. Yeah.
You just don't bother. Just don't bother. It's you waste your time.
It's energy,
with those
isn't
who
it?
are not going to listen. It's the Jesus statement. If they don't want to hear it, kick the sand off your shoes and bid them farewell. You know, because they were knocking on doors, weren't they?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that sort of thing, or going from place to place. Yeah, but and I would like to talk about plant medicine.
I think you need to.
Yeah.
You need to tell us this experience. Yeah,
Great,
absolutely.
great. Well, there are many different types. And I'd like to clear up the idea that when I say plant medicine, of course, if you want to argue that it's a drug, but I don't view them like that.
No.
Cocaine's a drug.
Yeah.
Heroin is a drug.
Yeah.
You know, there are dead end stuff. There's dead end stuff there. I mean, if you enjoy it, that's your business. You know, but that's the whole point. Why I call plant medicine is because if used correctly, with the right people and right environment, you should do, and I do, reach a place of love experientially, really powerfully. And that is why I call that medicine, because it helps that, it brings that out. And I'll give you a couple of examples.
Please,
Yeah. Right, well, I mean, I've done, I told you I'd done LSD. If you've been a musician, you're going to do it in the 70s and 80s.
The Straubs and the Jaggers.
Yeah. Oh, God, I've had strawberries. Even before that, it was microdots.
I've had
little
microdots.
tiny microdots. Well, I couldn't believe this thing that looked like a bloody mustard seed could blow your head off that far, you know, for so
24
long.
hours
Like,
it
it was
took
just ridiculously long then, weren't it?
Yeah.
Whatever happened with LSD, whoever was making it, it stopped being good. I don't know how did somebody... See, they always manage to knock it on the head, don't they, the people in society?
Things get infiltrated, though, don't
Yeah,
they? Because
they do,
this is supposed to be expanding consciousness, isn't it?
Yeah. And again, who has the right to say you can't do that?
It's your
This
life.
is what...
As long as you're not doing anyone any harm.
Well, this is right, because there's the thing about sovereignty, and that's another controversial issue. But, yeah, I consider myself sovereign, but I'm not the sovereign.
No.
There's a higher sovereign than I am.
Yeah.
And that is who I pay my obeisance to. And that is where I give all my gratitude to for having this path, knowing that it comes from the highest good, the highest good.
Yeah.
And I can be like, people say God, I find it really unhelpful.
Yeah.
Because they get the wrong image and wrong impression. So I don't call it God anyway. And there's a thing, there's a little bit of a slight thing. There's no God in Buddhism like that. You don't do that. You're working towards this yourself. It's your own work.
See, I like that.
Yeah. But I have a great spirit angle on it as well. And I started to think they're just words, they're just explanations for the highest goal, the highest good. Now, however you perceive that to be, then pursue it.
Yeah.
Because what are you doing it for? If you're in a group or you're in a religious, culture of some sort, I don't understand how people relate to the word God and then do terrible things with it.
In the name of God.
Well, any form of terrorism, any form of like cruelty, like they used to do with stoning people to death and all these ridiculous things.
Yeah.
Is that necessary? Do you really think God wants you to behave like that? Throwing rocks at somebody's head because they had an affair. I mean, what did they have an affair for? I don't even question it. It's just bad, so bang. There you go, you see. It's not hard to figure it out, is it? I don't think it is.
But it's all here, isn't it?
Yeah.
But this is where I start wondering. I know the L eats are not like we are.
No, they're not.
I don't think they're the same as we are.
They're not.
No, but then I start questioning, are we that different? If the fact that are there many walking around in our reality that are not the same as us because they're prepared to stone someone over that. But are they actually feeling the love that's inside them? Because
they're not feeling that love. What you described.
Yeah.
And just the short period of time that we've met you.
Yeah.
We're hitting it off because we're on the same page.
Exactly, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
you've got love in your heart.
Yeah, yeah.
How can you have love in your heart if you're throwing a rock at someone's head?
I don't get it.
You can't, can you?
No.
It's not there, is it?
I don't think... It's funny, I had this conversation on a podcast with a gentleman called Lawrence Wright, and it was about this reality, and he was saying we were the fallen angels, and it's a really interesting conversation. But he was saying the real humans can't harm anyone else. Because we just can't. We're not meant to do that.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. This is it. Why is there this separation? But it's there. The big question is, what is this battle about? It's a spiritual battle.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, you know, like, if you were really heading for enlightenment as a Buddhist, you would pay none of that any attention. You would be going straight for the enlightenment because you don't want to come back here. That's the whole idea.
Yeah, yeah.
Is to transcend it.
Yeah, transcend.
But
yeah,
in Theravada Buddhism, which the people call the lesser vehicle, I don't like calling it that. It's more like the original one, where there's no ideas of bodhisattvas. It might have been mentioned by the Buddha, or I called somebody a bodhisattva, or what have you, but it's in the Mahayana. That is the bodhisattva ideal is in play there. Mm-hmm. And the bodhisattva ideal is those who have reached enlightenment have sworn to not go into nirvana and pass, transcend and leave and never come back in another body, but to come back in another body to help other beings because their compassion is so strong. What a beautiful, beautiful thing to do, even if you don't believe it to people who won't. But I think that's what a beautiful ideal, you know. Oh, I've reached enlightenment, but I'm not going there. There's so many people need our help. We're going to bring compassion to them.
That sounds like fallen angels in a way. That's like they've come earth angels that have come to help people on their path. If you're enjoying everything that we're doing here at Drake, Michigan, please subscribe, ring my bell, and let's enjoy this journey together. Okay, so you're mentioning the respect to plant medicine. So come on, let's dig into those experiences.
All right, okay, right. So I'd had drugs that you call drugs, LSD, and I'd had mushrooms. And once in a while, when I was 22, I went into a graveyard because I was reading Buddhist books, and there's a practice where they look at bones and things like that and contemplate the impermanence of life and things in general. But I'd had a number of trips where horrible things would turn up, you know, little demonic stuff and things like that. Yeah. So I went into this graveyard. It was drizzling with rain. Must have been about 1 o'clock in the morning. I'd had some mushrooms and I sat cross-legged on one of them big square tombs and waited. It's creepy. I'm only 22. Yeah. Up pop all sorts of horrible demons and God knows what else. These ghostly looking things. On my own. Oof. Completely on my own. Yeah, and I was getting wet. And there was in me going, come on, get down, go. And there was shockwaves of fear when I saw horrible things. After a while, and I realised my face wasn't being ripped off. Yes. And I wasn't coming to any harm. I realised a lot of this is mind projection and fear. Interesting. It's fear. Interesting. I hammered that fear there. Wow. I managed to get myself out of there. I hammered it. And I've not had that since. And when I do see these things, if they come up now, I know how to deal with it. I ignore it, or I get rid of them. Yeah, so
It's an experience.
yeah, so then there's been a long gap from the hedonistic days where I was just doing it basically. A lot of it was, like you're doing the hedonistic behaviour, you're having a few drinks, you might smoke weed and all the rest of it. That's your age and the energy that you have being in a band. That's what that was like.
Yeah, sure.
But the mind opening did come with LSD, and it did come with mushrooms. But then I left it for years. Right, but I've done them, and I've had mystical experiences, a few that not really worth mentioning, because after me and Caroline were married and we moved from the Peak District up to the Eden Valley, and we got the house there, and we'd built the studio in it and all the rest of it, the music studio and all that. We went up on the moors. Now, neither of us had mushrooms for years, long time. And I said, go on, we'll give it a whirl. We went and picked some. They were everywhere.
Were they?
And they're in a pristine position. There's no one about. There's nothing there. Like, I'd pick them off Lime Park when I was younger, and they'd come out, get wise to it, and throw lime all over the flipping place.
Right.
Like, somebody's got to be doing something silly, aren't they? So, anyway, so we got these. We dried them out. We reduced it to powder. Yeah. So back is not an handful where you're counting them. But we decided we were going to put the foot to the metal, so to speak. Quoting Terence McKenna, who I'm a big fan of.
Yeah.
Because that guy's something else. Anyway, so we did. We had 2 heaped tablespoons of powdered mushrooms. Right. Which is way beyond what most people have.
Right, okay.
And we were up within 15 minutes. It was wild hallucinations. It was just immense. And we were well, first of all, you're blown away with what you're looking at. And as that settles in, and we got together, all this love came up. It was beautiful. Well, it was really beautiful. Yeah. Caroline was there. She was having it. I was having it. It was wonderful. And we did it together, and it made it even more special. We decided we'd do it again. We'd wait a while. Yeah. So we start to do it very sacred now. Yeah. We'd say prayers over it first and go with an intention. So we did it again the second time. Again, same amount, massive. I mean, this would be, anyone who takes mushrooms would know this is proper hardcore. This is a lot. Right. And it does make a difference. It really does. Yeah. But my wife and I, and apart from me having all these things that I've been a Buddhist, and she's been a Buddhist as well, we are psychonauts. Yeah. In that sense, without any doubt. Yeah. Anyway, we had the second one, expecting it to go like the first. Well, Caroline had to go in another room. I was left in another room on my own. We weren't talking to each other, and there was a lot of struggling. It was a really dark thing that happened. I wasn't expecting it. Same happened to Caroline, but she was having her experiences in another room. Okay. Which is a whole nother story altogether. But for me, I'm sitting down it's in the quiet, there's noises in my head and strange things, and so I sat cross-legged on the settee, and then there's a little voice going, who do you think you are, the Buddha or something? Oh, it was all mocking me. It was like having a right go.
Is that your ego coming out to play? Or
pardon?
Was that your ego coming out to play?
Yeah, it must be, yeah. But they play on that. Whoever it is behind it, the dark energies, they know what to try and get at. Yeah. Because they don't work with me, the fear thing, because I don't have it. I'd sat on that grave and I've done... Of course. Yeah, but no, the ego, that's what they were playing at. Who do you think you are? Uh-huh. You're enlightened or something, you're not enlightened. All that, and I don't think I'm enlightened. I don't. No. Not as in true enlightenment. No, absolutely not. But anyway, it was a dark, dark thing. Anyway, it got to the point where I just didn't know what to do with it. I was getting agitated with it. So I did something I don't normally do. I got on my knees and I put my hands together. And I closed my eyes and I said, I prayed to the gatekeepers of wisdom. Whoever you are, you gatekeepers of wisdom, please would you just look in my heart and see that if I deserve some wisdom or not. I'm troubled with all of this. Mm-hmm. Please would you just help me with it. And lo and behold, as soon as I did that, and don't forget I'm on plant medicine, the image of 4 American Indians came up. Wow. The faces, I can see them clear now as I remember it. And they gave me some wisdom. They gave me some, and they changed my name. I have the ludicrous surname, which is Thicket, right?
Okay.
That name on its own has served me well, actually. I've never liked it, and I still don't.
Yeah.
You know, because I've been called thickhead, thick
Right,
swat,
okay.
thick that and the other, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But if you think you're getting clever, you just remember what that name was. And it humbled me a bit.
Right, okay.
But it also, I met girls who went, I wouldn't marry you with a name like that. I went, okay then, piss off. Do you know what I mean? So it helped me in a number of ways, you know what I mean? But anyway, I'd never liked it, and I just thought, you know, you've got to stick with it, haven't you? But they said, your name is Standing Tree.
Oh, wow.
They gave me a name. Now, I know what the detractors think, you're on drugs and all that. I don't care. This experience was profound.
Yeah.
Life-changing.
Yeah.
Again.
When was this? A couple of years ago?
This is about 3 years ago.
So it's not that long ago, is it?
No. And it's been on the path that me and Caroline are on it, and we're on it together.
Yeah.
And, her experiences is something else as well. I mean, she struggled with it, and she managed to. We both broke through. The weird thing, the funny part of it was after that, when this release of all this stuff went away, and then this relief that came over me, and there was tears coming down my face, and these beautiful, wrinkled, old, wise gatekeepers of wisdom. Elders of wisdom. You know, when you'd think it'd be angels, this is what you'd think come like you. I didn't know it was going to be North American Indians.
Yeah.
But it was. The images were, the faces were. Wow. And from there, and I have to say that I believe wholeheartedly that my wife was a North American Indian in a previous life. She's like that now. Yeah. She looks like that. And she has an affinity with it.
Yeah.
And always has done.
Yeah.
You know. Anyway,
did they speak to you? Did they vocalise?
Yeah, no, there was a voice.
Really?
Yeah, no. I've spoke to people about that. It sounds a bit schizophrenic. It's not schizophrenic. I wondered if it was schizophrenic, it happened all the time when I'm not on medicine.
Exactly.
You know, someone said that about the white, you know, when I saw the light and they had the epiphany about within, without.
Okay.
Sounds like you're schizophrenic. Well, if I was a schizophrenic, that would be happening all the time, every day, and it didn't. They won off. Long times out distances. Do you know what I mean?
I've had conversations with people, even on this podcast. We had a lady called Linda Scott on, and she was talking about, you know, people who are schizophrenic have basically been having spiritual experiences. It's just that the Western world doesn't understand it, so instantly they think you're...
It was called demonic influence.
Right.
The doctors used to say they were demonically influenced.
Well, then they'll give you lobotomies and this, that, and the other.
Whatever it is that they've got, and I've seen some who really suffer with it, but they put them on tablets, and when they're on the tablets, they actually look worse. Yeah. I have felt a lot of compassion towards them, like, you know, because if it's relentless like that, if it's relentless voices, imagery, it's hard to
and it must be very difficult.
All.
Yeah, because it's dimensional, isn't it? I would suspect. You know, if you're breaking in different dimensions, and you're programmed in this one, that is going to be tough. Your mind's not going to be able to kind of most of the time probably won't understand what the hell's going on. Doesn't mean you're nuts. It's just that you don't understand that there's actually other different dimensions.
I think you're right. I do. I think that.
Yeah.
No, anyway, after that experience, things changed. The next time we did it, it was like we got remarried, and the whole experience was just one of immense love, like the first one, even more powerful.
So did you do these on day after day, or kind of three days or something? Was it three or?
No, the mushrooms. No, we did it together, alone in our house.
Yeah.
And we did about 4 over a year period.
Oh, right, okay.
Of the foots and the metal stuff.
Imagine the experiences you've had there.
Right, but we both had this calling for ayahuasca.
After the mushrooms?
No, even before that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We wondered about it, and we both wanted to do it.
This has become the ayahuasca channel, by the way. Most people
has it?
Here seem to
right. Well, you're going to love what I'm going to say next. Because we thought we were going to be spending like 10 grand or more going to Peru. Right?
Yeah.
But we found somebody lovely in this country.
Okay.
I'm not saying where it is.
No.
It wouldn't be right to do, and I can't say anybody's names.
No.
Because I don't want them interfered with in any way at all. I respect and love them dearly.
Yeah.
But we went to a ceremony, an ayahuasca ceremony, and it was led by this lovely woman who was a true shaman, and I think her best friend's the same, but there was other women there who were all lovely. Anyway, we went there, all in anticipation and what have you. We met so many people we're now friends with, but this is the whole point. And this is why I'd call it medicine.
Yeah.
Because what we did was, we all gathered together, there's an introduction, then we all go up and we get the ayahuasca, and then we all drink it at the same time.
I've heard it tastes terrible.
It was weird, the taste. It's a bit weird.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's like some kind of treacly gone off chocolate or something. It isn't too pleasant at first, but I managed that, got it down.
Yeah.
And you could go up and get a second or a third if you want at a different time.
Okay.
But what happens once you've got into that, the ceremony thing begins. You all sat in a circle. But over here, who's facilitating it is the shaman woman and all these girls at the back. We did it twice. We went to the same place twice, so we'd done it twice. And the second time there was a fella singing as well. But the music was on all the way through the ayahuasca, and the singing was going all the way through it. And as a musician,
yes,
it was top-notch professional singing and playing.
Was it?
But they were all ladies, and it was profoundly beautiful. It was just gorgeous. I mean, and that went all the way through that. And I had on that an incredible experience. You're not meant to really, I don't think, tell people your experiences, when you see something.
Yeah.
Because it's your experience, It's for you, isn't it? Because everyone's got their own things. Some have issues, the calling of why they're there, or even if it's just, being inquisitive, or somebody's got, no, I need this stuff, I've heard about it, this will help me, whatever the reason. We've made some beautiful friends there. We just got on, it was brilliant. But this is why I'm going to come to in a minute, why I still class it as medicine. Yeah, so I had an experience there. I'll give you a short one. I did have a giant cinematic blue Shiva that popped up.
Wow.
And his forehead, big muscly blue god.
Whoa.
But his forehead split open. And all these sigils and symbols poured out. Wow. I'm in awe. I'm looking up and I'm going, was
there any fear? Or were you just like, it is?
I don't have any fear.
No fear.
My intention is, what I do, when someone goes there with an intention, I go there and surrender to it. Okay. And you teach me.
Yeah.
I see everything as lessons.
Yeah, that makes sense.
A teaching of some sort.
Yeah.
So I'd seen that, and you might tell somebody that, and they'll go, "So what does that mean then?" Well, that's the whole fucking point. I don't know, do I? It was just mind blowing. I'm still going, why Shiva? It's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd done Bufo as well. I did that before that, and
really?
that was incredible. Yeah, I'd done that. And that was a brilliant one. I saw Shiva in that one as well, but not the same one. It was more of what's the difference? Shiva and another god in the Hindu thing. It's one and the same, really. Vishnu. It was Vishnu who I saw, not Shiva.
Right.
The big blue one. That was Vishnu. But the other version of it was Shiva, the dancing one.
Yeah.
And on Bufo, that's what I saw there. That dissipated, and then the Buddha came up. And at the time, I was still reeling from the North American gatekeepers of wisdom, and I thought I was going to get more of that. And it's amazing what's in your mind. And up popped these two. And then I went back, lay back down, and I was in touch with the Divine Feminine.
Nice.
The Divine Feminine. Nice. Beautiful. Saw my mum's face.
Oh.
Could let go of it. I'll never forget her.
That's just nice.
The love's immense. It's immense. And it was all Divine Feminine.
Wow.
And I was like that, and I realised just how much the Divine Feminine's been abused and held away from people.
Yes.
Not made some like lower than a man. Terrible thing.
Yeah, there's a rise of that coming, I think.
I'll sing the praises of the divine feminine to anybody.
Yeah.
Especially after the experiences that I've had of it. It's so nurturing, so loving, you know. Anyway, yeah, back to the ayahuasca. While this is going on, there's people going in buckets. Yeah. It's really bizarre, you know, in an experience. There's people, you know.
Shitting and all sorts.
They all got go, well, my stomach went off. Oh, that's another one. I had to get up. And what's beautiful about these ceremonies is someone there to look after you.
Okay.
So I got up and I stumbled a little bit because I've been sat cross-legged for I don't know how long. Anyway, I got helped up. And they're like, come on, you know where you're going? I said, I forgot what I was getting up for. I was going for a pee.
Right.
And do you need to go to the toilet? I said, I don't know, do I? And, you know, it was a bit strange, but it was a bit comical, really. Anyway, they held me by the hand, took me to the toilet. I got in the toilet and the walls were giving it all that, and it was like synthesizer noises going. It was what's all that. It was getting a bit shaky. Yeah. And it was making me laugh as well. Anyway, I come out of there and totally forgot where I was. It was like it was a different room, and I was going, where's everyone gone? I couldn't find the circle. I'd forgotten I'd gone out of that and into another room to go to the toilet.
Yeah.
So I got helped back out again. So I had lost your marbles a little bit.
Yeah. But, disorientated a bit.
Yeah, but once I purged.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, once. People were doing it all night and what have you. And I purged. A big sweat came over me and it went, and I just did it once. And then I was fine. But I've got to be honest with you, the shaman who was leading it gives you beautiful advice on what to eat and how little to eat beforehand and what not to eat. Mm-hmm. Like, don't have coffee, bananas and all the rest of it. Bananas have serotonin and it can stop the visuals, so on, so on, so on. Just really good kind of advice. And I had a crap breakfast before I left and it was heavy. And I had stomachache all day, actually.
Right.
So it was no wonder that I did that.
Yeah.
Because the second time I did it, I followed that advice to the letter and I didn't purge at all.
Oh, interesting.
And I had an even better time.
Right.
But anyway, we did that. And then once you've been up all night, done that, you get 3 hours to sleep. I didn't really get any sleep. And then it was the next part of it. And then it was the following day was peyote.
Really?
So we all sit and do.
You've done a lot, then it's like a cocktail.
it's unreal, honestly. It's just, but the peyote. Oh, and San Pedro chocolate.
Oh, really?
Yeah, San Pedro chocolate and a drink of peyote, cactus pump.
Oh, right.
Well, a peyote. I mean, I am going to say this is only my personal impression and experience of ayahuasca, because the second time that I did it, I sang along with the music all the way through it, and I was in joy from start to finish, no purging, nothing. It was brilliant. But I did see demonic entities outside the building, and I felt sorry for them. They couldn't comprehend what all these people with this lovely heart thing were doing, you know. They just didn't know what it was.
Compassion for the demons.
Yeah, basically, because they talk about lost, and I could see them, and I looked round, and there's no other hallucinatory things happening, but when I look out the window, there they were. Wow. All outside, sort of doing this on the glass and what have you. That was the second time. Anyway, so I don't need to go on about the second or the first. It was both the same ceremony, both outstanding, both beautiful. Some of the best experience I've had in my life. Yeah. Because then when we had the peyote, I mean, I don't know if you ever had ease.
Yeah.
You know, when they first come out, the doves, when the people were out that. And I class that as a drug, but it did get rid of a lot of inhibitions, and there was we were hugging each other, for God's sake.
I've always been shy, mate.
Yeah.
When I ever went out and we had pills, I'd be chatting all night. People were like, this critch I've never seen before.
But you never hugged too many people either. Because that happened, didn't it? We were all in that.
Exactly,
We were all loving each other, yeah. So anyway, well, it was like that on steroids.
Really?
And it was just beautiful. All I could think about, all I was feeling was this immense.
Is that what peyote is supposed to do? Is it different for everyone? Like, because everyone has different experiences with. That's
what it did to me.
Right. So it could be different for somebody else.
It's what it did to Caroline. No, we were wandering around, and every time we met each other, it was like, oh. It was all these people you've never met before. You're just hugging each other.
Oh wow!
There was a guy there.
There
was a black guy there. He was brilliant. He had muscles like this, man. He was massive, I looked at him and he made me smile, and he come up to me, put his arms out, give him a big hug, and he thanked me thank you for your love, brother, he was saying.
Oh.
You know what I mean? And give him a kiss on the neck and all that.
Nice.
And I said, you know what? And I'm just looking at you, and I said, we need more blokes like you, don't we?
Yeah.
I said, well, all that power and strength you've got, and all that love in your heart.
With the love in the heart.
Yeah, well, he was brilliant.
Yeah.
An immense
we do
man.
need that,
Yeah.
Speaking of peyote, I'm just thinking, is that the Carlos Castaneda?
Yeah.
That's peyote, isn't it?
Yeah. But there was a lot of magical stuff happening in that. This was mainly a ceremony of the heart. It was all about that.
Don Juan.
Yeah, Don Juan's. Yeah.
Books, isn't it? Yeah.
Carlos Castaneda. There's a lot of dreaming in it, isn't there?
That's right.
Like
yeah.
that.
It's about the dreamscape thing, isn't it? I think, or something. Yeah.
Well, the peyote there, what they do when you've had the peyote, and we've all done it in circles, we're told to go outside and experience the wind, nature and that. And believe
the elements.
So no one's talking to each other outside, but they're passing each other. And you just do that. You can't help it. There's so much love there. That is why it is medicine.
Yes, of course.
That is why it is medicine.
Yeah.
Because it's very deeply healing.
Yeah.
I mean, there were people there that had traumas and they knew about it, and we saw people suffer. But when they came out of it, we were all back to the same place, and they were relieved. And even though they may have suffered a bit going through it, when they'd passed through it, the relief and the love that they had left, it is medicine. It heals. It healed them. I've watched that. I've witnessed it.
Yeah.
And this might be against the law. And people, you know what I mean? Well, that law's an arse.
Of course it is.
They do not know what they're saying. That's all. They really don't.
Well, it's control, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's demonising something extremely beautiful and healing. Because they don't want that.
No, do they? No,
it's dark. That's the war side of it, I think. This little battle we're in. So that was brilliant. And after a few hours of being outside, you come back in and they've set a sound bath up.
Oh, nice.
We all lie in our heads are there in a circle and the sound bath's in the middle, so we all got our feet spread out, right? So all our heads are touching in a circle. And there was a bit of singing. And
I can imagine that's very powerful. Well, you're all touching as well, so the vibration the energy levels must have been magic.
Well, you're on this peyote, we're all loving it, and you're lying down there, and then the sound bath starts. But I got to tell you, they had a whale gong.
Yeah,
it's a huge big gong, and that was a very profound experience, because this is all in this one ceremony over the 3 days. That thing speaks. It was like an ancient language. It sounded like whales and dolphins, and it also sounded like when the deep notes rumbled and came out. Every fibre in my body was vibrating along with this gong.
Wow!
And again, it was something ancient there, some ancestral ancient knowledge in it. It was the experiences that you were having. And the things that you would think while that was happening.
Love it.
Or not think, you're just in it.
Yeah, I love that.
It was beautiful. And so then after that, then there's one more ceremony, and then you go the following day.
I quite fancy this peyote thing now.
Right, yeah, well, you can't get hold of it, can you? No. That's why I'm not saying where it is.
No.
Because these people are beautiful people, and they're providing what I consider is a very, very healing service for
it is.
Yeah.
100% it is.
Yeah.
But that shows
I'd hate for anything bad to happen to any of those
exactly,
folks.
yeah. But that shows the Western civilization we are in, where we are meant to just experience what they provide.
Yeah.
Not what nature provides.
Yeah.
What they provide.
What?
The synthetic
pharmaceutical
stuff.
Rubbish.
Well, exactly, yeah.
It's just nonsense, isn't it?
Eat this shit and then rely on us to fix it.
Yeah, but then you're addicted to it,
exactly.
And it's not got to the root problem, so you're still suffering from whatever it was, and it's just helping with a symptom. That's not healing.
No, it's just...
That's a sickness business.
They want a little plaster on it that they can tear off whenever they want to.
Oh no, I'm getting stomachache off it now. I'll take this drug as well. Mm-hmm. There's another pill.
100%.
And they invent mental illnesses on purpose so they can sell the drug for it.
Of course they do.
ADHD, my ass. Do you know
Well,
what
again,
I mean?
it's labels though as well. We were talking earlier on about the labels.
No.
I mean, now more than ever, it's divide and rule, isn't it? So, like more than ever now, the wokeism side of things. It's like you've got all the pronouns and you're this, that, and a million genders, and this, and it's just insanity, and it's destroying society. Even society's tough as it is.
Yeah.
I hate to think if we don't get a grips of it, what the future generations are actually going to be living in.
Yeah.
Because they won't have experienced our life.
No.
We're the bridge.
No.
Because we've experienced everything before the tech really took off. We were there when it started.
Exactly.
But the tech's taking over.
They put their hand out and made a move on their own because it's them that have the chessboard. I mean, it's like being in a game with it.
It is a game.
It's like a chessboard. It's Monopoly and it's snakes and fucking ladders. And you tie them three together, that's what it's like.
It
There's
is.
someone going up and then they lose it all. You back down a snake. You know what I mean? But the Monopoly, the thing that, the way the money's worked with it, that.
Yeah, agreed.
Don't go to jail, all of it. You know what I mean? That's them. And chess, well, it's strategy, isn't it? So that's what they like. They have that checkered board for the duality and the Freemason halls and all that stuff. Jill's ace at, Carly's.
She's amazing, isn't she?
Yeah. Love her to bits.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Absolutely love her to pieces.
Yeah, I do. She's amazing. And the knowledge is phenomenal.
I'll tell you what's phenomenal about her. We can be having the crack, as they say in Ireland, having a really good laugh, and she's as funny can be. Her sense of humour is amazing, and she's always lovely.
Yeah.
Her and my missus, I call them the terrible twins. They got the same birthday. When them two get together, oh God. Oh, it's just so funny. But then she could just drop into this, and all this knowledge piles out.
Yeah.
You just go from that to that.
Well, speaking of knowledge, you blew me away the other day when I was listening to you both. So I mean, you clearly can retain knowledge well. I mean, I find that if I'm reading something, I'll have to read it about 1 million times before it sinks in.
No, I do.
Do you?
Oh yeah.
But you seem to. I don't know. I mean, like the Gnostic side of things. I'm very interested in your concept, your thoughts on what they are, and the Elohim and all that. What's your?
Do you know what? I don't think I know enough about that, and I'm going to go and do a bit of research.
Yeah.
But I do know that the Gnostics were teaching that the Christ is within.
Yeah.
And that they had and the Essenes, they did too. They wanted to. These are the people that I would be loving.
Yeah.
Because the Gnostics are the ones who are warning you against the Archons, the controllers.
Okay.
In another realm. Mm-hmm. Because they go on it. David Icke talks about it.
He does, yeah.
Yeah, very well as well. And I like David Icke for anybody who thinks that, he's a nut and all that. No, he's not.
No,
he ain't. No. He's done more than most.
He has.
Or at 30 years. Thanks, David.
Yeah, he did. I agree.
He's not a nutcase. He's a fucking lovely bloke.
Yeah.
No, he's taught us a lot.
Yes, yeah.
No, they were murdered, basically, by Constantine and his cohorts, in fact, the Roman Empire. I told you that in 320 AD, they put what is the Bible today in that's it. Well, at the time, when the Gnostics were growing, and all these other little Christian groups, they were. It was more like a Buddhist type thing, but with Christ as the highest good. Mm-hmm. And they taught how you can escape this density through following the Christ. It's a mystical way of doing it. It's something like the Buddha teaches you to go to enlightenment. Yeah. But they used the Christ, and it was to go to the Godhead that way. You see what I mean? Yeah, I do. And they had all these different practices to do it. Well, that was done away with. And the Bible's been put into a concise thing where it's teaching you that it's not you within, which Jesus did teach. They're saying, no, he didn't.
Well, yeah, because the teachings are to find the Saviour someone or something to save you.
That's right.
Give yourself to the Saviour rather than saving yourself.
Or go Christ-like within.
Going Christ-like within and becoming.
There's another guy, Sacha Stone explains that beautifully.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure he says he doesn't read that much either nowadays or what have you.
Right, okay.
But his description of self-knowledge, self-love and generosity, give it back, and talks about how to be in the Christed light. I'm not going to talk like Sacha because I'm just not on his level to do it. He does it very poetically, and I think when I hear him say it,
he's
I go,
amazing.
that's how I feel. That's exactly how I do it. You know, it's brilliant.
He is brilliant. I hadn't heard of him. Again, there was a number of people that came into my consciousness over the past few years, again, during this period. And Sacha Stone came into my consciousness early on in 2020. And I thought to myself, wow, he can talk for one.
Yeah.
He's seriously intelligent.
Yes, he is.
And why is there not more of these people?
Well, there's the question you've just asked that I always ask. Where are the rest? Where's everyone else? Where is everybody else?
Yeah, exactly.
It can't just be just a small handful of it, but it's appearing that those are the ones with the courage to come out and start talking about it.
Yeah.
Let's face it, over the last 3 years, you know, like we was talking now, you want to know about Gnosticism and stuff like that, but over the last 3 years, it's become apparent that there's a big divide in people, isn't it? Like we were saying earlier, how we've divided, and families have suffered because of it, because some people are against others. But this is, in Buddhism, views and opinions are a waste of time. It's all about having an experience. I follow that principle. But I do have views and opinions. I'm bound to, but I don't cling to it.
No,
I'm quite willing to have an edification of someone else to put me straight if it's on a subject matter that I'm talking about and I didn't have it as down as well as someone else.
There's nothing wrong with being wrong about stuff, is there?
Not at all, isn't it? I mean, I don't dig the right and wrong.
No.
Why can't you just be a bit skillful or unskillful? You know, we don't have to hurt ourselves with it. You know, I'm right. You're not. I've studied this and I know. Well, this why are you arrogant then?
Yeah.
What are you getting cross for?
Yeah, exactly.
What's that all about?
Protecting the ideologies that are you're kind of conditioned with.
Yeah.
That seems to be people will protect that to the death, as they have done forever, haven't they?
Yeah. No, they do. That's right. They'll defend what they believe in like that as a reality.
And that's sad, because if you were able just to let go. And just go, hold on a minute.
It's all about letting go.
It is
in Buddhism.
Is that
it's all about attachment, non-attachment.
Non-attachment.
You learn a lot about that.
And interesting again, the conversation I had with Lawrence about getting back home or getting back to where we are is you cannot be attached.
No,
because if you are attached, you will repeat.
Yes, that's right. That's spot on. Absolutely right, that Ant. You know, and those who want to, like a Bodhisattva. The ideal is that he knows that he's made it to nirvana, he's already enlightened, but that ideal is to help others get to the same place. But there's no forcing in it. It's not a force thing and it's not a threatening thing. It is just compassion, which I will never argue with that. I just won't argue with that. No. Because once you've experienced it and you do feel compassion, and you know, it's not easy to do it. A lot of the time, you can mistake compassion for pity. Do you know what I mean? You can be pitying someone. It's not quite the same.
No, it's
this is what I'm saying about language, right? And this is why views and opinions, you'll always come to something will be misrepresented, something might not be fully explained. You can get, because somebody's only giving a half a version of it or a short version of what it is they want to explain or what have you. Because there's always a short, a mid and a long one, isn't there?
Yeah.
You know, explanation, but this is it. The experience itself. That's where true gnosis is.
Yes.
That's what the Gnostics were doing, and they were trying to reach that goal that way, but through Christ.
Yeah.
Within. Yeah.
The power is within. The kingdom is within.
Well, where else is it going to be? I mean, if you think about, when I was talking about the within without, it sounds like a dualism on its own, but it's just the words that I'm describing. If you say the unconditioned and then the conditioned, there's another duality.
It is.
But the unconditioned, anyway, permeates everything that has conditions, because that's the eternal part of it. Everything springs from that. Everything. Anything that comes into existence at all has conditions. Anything, especially sentient beings.
Right.
Anything that perceives or anything that has got consciousness needs conditions for it to arise. Even, I'll go as far as saying, even if you think there are light beings with light bodies, there will be conditions.
Yeah.
But true enlightenment is blowing out away from conditionality. It's gone to the unconditioned.
Yeah.
Some people call that the source. Some people are calling that the all universe. Some people are calling it, well, there's all sorts of stuff for it. Emptiness.
Yeah.
You know, lots of different things, loads of different titles. But it's basically, I see that here now and here. But it's there, and so that's where duality is defeated, is in the unconditioned. Everything comes from that. All conditions arise from it in the first place, and that's what makes it a creator of conditions, and that's what brings in all the life, all the conscious beings, everything.
Right.
And it's not a controller, it's not a ruler, and it's not a man with a beard on a throne wanting worship.
No.
It's none of those things.
No.
And I think that Christ was teaching that. And when he's saying your Father in heaven, it's because he's preaching in the Middle East to people who looked at things like that at the time.
Yeah.
If he wasn't doing the right job at the time, he wouldn't have been warning everybody against the Sanhedrin. You know, and all these people that were running the temples who were dressed in the finery, again, in their outfits.
Yeah,
you know, all the refinery, everyone's wandering around, and these people have got fine clothes on and are well respected. But
it's an act, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the clothes doing the ego thing. Take that off, and let's see how small your knob is.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Shut up, because you're just lauding yourself over someone else.
And nobody's better than anybody else.
No. I mean, what does that mean? What is that when somebody's better than someone else? The statement's just ding, ding, bang, but it just bounces around everywhere. It's just nonsense.
It's mad because it's. I always had an intrinsic anti-establishment, whatever it is, inside of me from an early age.
Yeah.
You know, so it was like, what I have to what to the Queen, the King, the what? I have to do what? Sorry.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
What? Because they've got a big fancy thing on their head. Why?
No.
I could never get my head around that.
No, me and the missus, we're not monarchists. Why would we be? If you ever follow a path and you're talking about unconditional love, you can't look at that and think that's a lovely, wonderful, kind thing to be doing, and you know your legacy and your history. It's
not for me.
It's nothing to do with me.
I find it repulsive.
So do I. I'll distance myself from it.
Yeah, but I mean, if I'll credit anybody that's got material wealth if they're using it for the right purposes.
It's like I say, if I ever met somebody who called himself a king, I'd pay him respect. But I wouldn't believe for a minute that he was my king.
But it wouldn't be any more respect than I would give anybody else on the street, though. You know,
exactly.
You know, yeah. I don't see anyone. I just never have.
Because in reality, there isn't.
There isn't.
No, you're right too. And I think anybody. A lot of us who were rebellious in school. Nearly all of us who were rebellious in school have come to these conclusions. You know. There's a lot of them, and I don't mean someone who's ended up being in the mafia or something like that. you know what I mean? They end up becoming spiritual.
Yeah.
Or they can see. I'm going to make a statement here.
Yeah, go on.
The purer your heart is, the more you see.
Yeah.
The clearer it becomes. But you just throw off the shackles of all the things that your ego's been saying about yourself and all of that. And all these things that you're attached to about yourself, the ideas, I'm this, I'm that, whatever. All the just labels is an utter nonsense. Let go of it.
Let go of it.
What are you doing anyway when you're calling yourself something? You even label yourself this, I'm an Englishman. You know, it's rude to everyone else. You're all your brothers and sisters. You should see that. Why can't you see that? But and these cultures and these religions, it's like Carly was saying. She was saying that religion is to hold back. It's to hold back. Hold you back from what? Hold you back from a deeper experience, so that you can feel and see for yourself.
Yes.
Right? That there is something more to life than what these people have got us doing, or would have us believe.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not falling for that. Not anymore. Now that I've done my work.
It's an initiation.
I still do my work. Doing my inner work.
Yeah. That I don't think that ever stops, does it? You know, because on our journey, you're gonna have moments on our journey where something could upset you, or you could do something wrong yourself again, and there's another lesson.
Well, like I'm saying, you just wouldn't be very skillful if you made a mistake.
That's true.
Don't beat yourself up. Don't say the word, I'm wrong, like it's some crime. There's nothing wrong with that. Do you know what I mean? That's the only time I use it. It's exactly. Basically, it's like that. Just, you end up, it's you. Everyone's working their own salvation out in their own way.
Yeah.
And so you have to have responsibility. And you are responsible to others as well as yourself. I don't want to hang around with. Once I find somebody sitting there bearing a grudge against someone else, I just think, oh.
But it's a waste of energy.
Oh, please. You know, I don't even want to hear it. You know what I mean? Why aren't you thinking yet? How long ago did this happen? You know, that you don't like this person did this hurtful thing to you. 3 years ago. You've been carrying that around with it on your shoulders, that. Don't you realise you're hurting yourself?
Well, this is funny. You know, so when I was doing my self-healing last year, so I carried my bitterness towards my ex-wife for 10 years.
Right.
Like that rucksack, it's like you may as well just kept piling rocks on it.
Right.
You know, and I was using my bitterness as an ambition to do better.
Right.
For my daughter, for my family, to prove myself.
Right.
And it was completely the wrong thing to do. But it took me 10 years to go, why? Well, just let it go. What's the point? All I've done is hurt myself.
But you did it, and now you know that.
Yeah.
It don't matter if it was 10 years.
No, it doesn't. But
and not only that, what I was saying before, it's not that you're wrong, it's a state of mind. It's always a state of mind.
It is.
That's just it.
But
with an emotional attachment.
That's right. It is. And you're attached to that time and that individual.
Right. Every time
and
you recall it.
Yeah.
Well, if you recall something that's pissed you off, the emotion's still there with it, unless you've learnt enough to let go. And when someone else brings it up, you just think, dealt with that a long time ago, you know. And
it's healing to when because a lot of people might come across this conversation at some point that are going through that period, and it's like, just let it go, man. Honestly, it's like you feel better when you do.
Because I've done it. We all have. I mean, I've stood there ranting and raving, defending something I fucking believe in. You know what I mean? It's what atheists make me laugh.
Yeah.
They rant and rave and start shouting about something they don't believe in. Well, they do, don't they? So everyone seems to make that mistake as though this is it now, I've found it, that's a fact. I hear that all the time. No, it's flowing. Do you know what? I've been working in a beautiful place. It's a 10.3 acre site. It's got this. It's just stunningly beautiful. And there's waterfalls pouring down it. So I can walk on that estate. And I went there just before it came out. It was last week. And I sat at the foot of the waterfall. And I've done it before. And you can contemplate the noise in the water. It starts sounding like there's voices in it.
Yeah.
Right. It was like let my imagination running away with me or anything like that. But then I just thought about the water itself. All this immense power pouring over these rocks, splashing everywhere, bouncing over everything, then going down the rapids, then it's there in a smooth bit.
Yes.
And then it trickles off again, and eventually it just reaches the ocean. It goes back to source. It's never lost.
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
not. It's never lost. It's never gone. It's there.
True. Yeah.
If it's, and they dry up in a certain part of the year, and there's a little trickle, and then when the rains and floods come, there it is again. But it's all coming from source.
It's amazing.
I mean, it's another analogy where I like to see consciousness is like a stream that keeps going back to source. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
And I can see that analogy in the water, and it's just, when you really just look at it and you think, God, that's incredible. I mean, it's just incredible. But it's also very beautiful.
It is.
And it's sacred.
I
see it all sacred, all of it. And our ancestral memory, all the good things that have come up through shamanism and even paganism. I mean, it doesn't add like I'm not a pagan.
No.
But again, that's a label to me.
Yes.
I suppose Buddhism is.
Yeah, well, they are.
It is when, in the end of the day, anything with an ism on is one of them things, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what I think about, because Triratna stands for the three jewels. It's the Buddha, the Sangha, and the Dharma.
Right.
Something like that in that order. What is the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha? But nonetheless, those are the three jewels. The community.
Yeah.
The teachings, and the Buddha himself, right? And I've the argument, why wasn't the Buddha a woman? I don't know, and I don't care. If probably because divine feminine has been knocked on the head all over the world for too long. Yeah. I've no idea, but it has.
Yeah, of course it has.
Yeah. Well, I think he was in touch with all of that. So does it matter if he was a man or a woman? I'm not. It's not. It's irrelevant. He created sanghas for both men and women.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they all loved him. So that'll do for me. It's the same with the Christ. Anybody, little children, men, women, there's a sense of love that comes out of there when you can read between the words, read between the lines properly. You don't have a story about somebody going around healing everybody and trying to get them closer to something higher, and pointing out who's in your way. Which was the principalities, the religious leaders of the time, all of that. It doesn't seem to have changed that much, really, does it? It's pretty much there still.
Yeah, I don't think it has changed.
No.
Do you see a change coming, though?
That is a fantastic question. I think it's unavoidable now. Mm-hmm. And the only thing that is concerning to me is I don't see enough people in this so-called awake movement. And I've been disappointed that they're still falling out over views.
Oh, all the time.
But it's there about flat earth, round earth. I mean, just forget that. Mm-hmm. It was supposed to be unifying.
Yes. There's a lot of that. But we are played off very, very easily.
Yeah.
And I used to see it at the pub that we had. So we used to have a regular Tuesday night gathering called Truth to Tuesdays.
That sounds brilliant.
And it was amazing. So people came from everywhere.
Great stuff.
It was fantastic. But you would see the arguments from behind the bar.
Yeah.
They were falling out about from Donald Trump to whatever. But that's what would happen.
Yeah.
And I'd be a little bit of me would be because I spent a lot of time behind the bar, especially the early periods before I realised I was too busy on a Tuesday night and I needed staff on. Was a frustration.
Yeah.
Because it was like, well, guys, we all want the same thing. We all can see what's happening. Yeah. We all can see what's coming.
Yeah.
And really, we just need to be together now.
Yeah.
And find the benefit of supporting each other through and navigating our way through the madness that they are going to unleash.
Yeah.
Which they've started to unleash.
Yeah. Well, it's been there for a long time, but now that they see what they do, they fund all the brilliant minds, give them the good wages to get what they want.
Well, again,
so
this is again
where weaponise everything.
Everything's been weaponised. Yeah, everything has.
And there's a lot of things like I've done that. I've wasted so much time getting irate about what I'm trying to say, and it's like as though I'm right all the time. And it's like, if I think back and look at it now, it's quite laughable, really. I mean, I'll give you an example. Even when I was practicing Buddhism, we'd go and have the guys would go and have a male chit chat in a room, like a bit of discussion on Buddhism and stuff. And I was just so full of fucking opinions that I'd be bursting into it every 5 minutes. Speaking too much, really. There's loads of blokes in there. And there was a lovely man called Mahashraddha.
Right.
And he actually said to me, Jonny, please, I've been here 30 years. Do you mind just listening to me a bit? Something along those lines. I kind of looked at him and I thought, oh, well, he was dead right, because you know what I mean? He's been there a long time. He's more than I do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I couldn't help myself at that time.
It's exciting still some though when you're learning stuff.
Yeah. But now it's at the point where I know nothing. It's better than the nothing that I know seems. It's those who comprehend it not.
Yeah.
It is that.
Yeah.
It is that. It's experiences. And there's a certain amount of when you understand that, there's a certain amount of being able to humble yourself enough, and you need to have some humility, which I didn't have.
Well, but we're always learning, aren't we?
Yeah, just what I'm saying. You're either getting more skillful or not.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
At what you're doing. It's the same in anything you want to do, innit? If you want to be a great guitarist, you've got to practice the thing.
Yeah.
You know, anything.
Yeah, 100%.
And there's people will tell you, good teachers will tell you there's no right and wrong, it's just practice.
Yeah.
Martial arts is like that.
Anything you want to be good at.
Yeah. It is, yeah. So it's what you want, it's what the endeavour is, and what you're aiming for. If you're aiming for the highest good and having a connection to it, that's what I want. That's how I feel. My wife feels like that. Jill feels like that. Friend of ours, Darren, you feel like that, I should think, obviously.
Yeah.
And Kev does.
Yeah.
All of us, a lot of us in this Awake Mirror, we've met, my wife and I, we've met so many beautiful people. We sold our house.
Right.
We sold up to look for land and find a spot or a community.
That's lovely, that. I mean, that seems to be on a lot of people's kind of minds. Yeah, because ultimately you just want to enjoy the experiences that you have here. You don't necessarily want to be fighting systems that you maybe can't defeat anyway.
Well,
so
you can't really do that much about stuff because they've got it all stitched up.
Yeah, exactly, and it's been going on a long, long time. So you just, in a way, we just want to be left alone, don't we?
Yeah. This is where the sovereignty comes in. That's what I think that is about, sovereignty. Somebody lording it over you, telling you what you can and can't do, what you should do and what you shouldn't do.
No.
But the people who are doing it are not benevolent.
No.
They're not nice. The people who are doing that have some really, really nasty stuff going on in the basement.
Exactly.
Hidden.
Yeah.
Hidden agendas.
Which is coming out anyway, but
thank goodness it is, but I just wish people would I'm hoping a great spirit lifts a great veil from many more people's eyes. And I'm saying from now, these elites and the corporations and even the non-human stuff that's behind it as well, as the seeds of its own destruction sown into it, and it's built on the foundations of nothing but corruption that's already collapsed beforehand. Because every empire, every monarchy, every pharaoh, every emperor, gone.
Yeah.
Every single one of them collapses sooner or later. It doesn't last because why? Because just look at it. Why would it? It's never been based on guiding its people with loving kindness or compassion, has it?
No.
It's always used them as fodder to go and get what they want.
Yeah.
That's all it is. You have always been a slave, whether you know it or not. You're born into it.
Yeah, you are.
And we covered a load of that when me and Jill were talking about it. And we're going to have guests on who will be give us an even greater edification of it, who know more than we do, you know. And
this is probably a perfect way to end this podcast by saying, we're excited by the fact that you guys are going to create this show. We're going to learn a lot.
Yeah.
And your guest that you've been telling me about that you're going to try and get on is exciting as well.
The guests we have in mind, if they do come on it, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. So this is exciting times, and I'm glad you're here, mate. I'm glad you're here on this journey with us. So this is, I think we've got some good moments to come. Yeah, we have, and I really, really thank you from the bottom of my heart for asking on here. That's brilliant. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks.
Thanks, Jonny.
No, cheers, Am.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.